So I hope this is my last video for a while. I have made a universal adjustable model of Scott and Overworks phone dock. This time, this one's, I took basically the body and I just split it all up so that we could do parameters to it without throwing up errors. And I'm very proud because I have been testing this a lot and I think it's ready for the world, and hopefully this will really help everybody be able to make this dock fit their phone or their case. I've also made a slide-in adjustable frame, and I'll be publishing that soon. But when I was doing it, that project, I figured out that I could do it to the regular, and it would be able to be much more adjustable, easier for people to use, and so much more user-friendly, I guess is the better word to say. So I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to pretend that you haven't seen any of the other videos. You probably haven't, but this, I'm going to go over everything. So feel free to jump around to where the spots that you need. Don't worry about watching the whole thing if you've seen everything else or you already know how to use a lot of this stuff. I'm just going to act like this is the definitive video for everything. So jumping right into it. When you go into Maker World, you are going to hit download STL CAD files, and it's not in here yet, but it will be in a folder of the new version 2 master file. So you're going to download that. It's an F3D file. You go into Fusion. They have a free use license that you can do, and you're just going to hit File. You can't see that, I realize now, and you're just going to hit Open, and that's it. Like, you're literally just going to open the file. You're going to choose it out of your downloads or wherever you put it, and this is where you will land. So I'm going to go over everything. Again, like I said, I'm so sorry if you already know this, so feel free to hop around. I'm going to start out with checking the reference sheet. So I made this reference sheet for everybody to use. It's my numbers that I have been using. I was going off of Google AI and trying to figure out all the phone sizes for iPhones. And then I went down a Reddit rabbit hole and I found these accessory design guidelines. And it's perfect because they actually are from Apple. It's actually kind of cool if you want to get nerdy about it. It's like the spec drawings, everything. They give you the numbers, even like the keep outs and stuff like that. It is public knowledge, so I don't feel bad sharing it. I am going to give you the link. I'm not going to put the actual download on here, but you have the link to go to and you can download it yourself. It's 567 pages, and I think it's fascinating, but it's also really annoying how they have changed everything by like a few millimeters to be able to make it where you can't reuse things like cases and docks and stuff like that. And the other thing I'm going to talk about is the radiuses. So this is something that we all are struggling with. Apple still doesn't even tell you the diameter, even though it tells you the diameter of other things. One of the reasons is because when you measure the radius of these corners, you technically are measuring from the left where it starts, the curve, and then to the right where it stops. And you're using these right here basically as the origin point and figuring out the measurements. Now, a lot of the phones, they are square, so the numbers are both the same. But there are some that are not the same, and it's just so confusing. I went through to my model sheet. I put in the exact numbers that Apple has, which helped out a lot. And then I added my clearances. So I'm adding 0.4 to each side. So that's for the lengths. And then for the widths, I'm adding 0.9 for the buttons because most Apple buttons, especially recently, it's been 0.45 millimeters tall. So if you have buttons on each side, we're going to say 0.9. And then I'm still doing the 0.4 as well for the clearance. So if you want to use my numbers, you can. Obviously, if you have something else, it's go off your numbers. But this is what I came up with. Corner radius, these are what I could see and I could guess. So again, not perfect, and I definitely, if you're making this for yourself, just have your phone with you in your case or whatever, and I would just smack it up against the computer screen and just look at it visually, and I'll show you how to do that, how to adjust that too. And then the product thickness. So I ended up not using the thickness because most phones were under 9, or all phones were under 9, and that is the depth that Scott had for his original. But I will show you how to make it thicker too if you have a thick case or something like that. So I just wanted to show you where all the numbers came from. If you want to use it, use the gold numbers if you want to go off my measurements. And then I also have the measurements in my dock and his dock and MagSafes and stuff like that. Yeah, so when you open up the file, I'm going to show you a little bit about Fusion 360. I am not an expert. I want to reiterate that. I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to help everybody, and I'm so sorry if there is a better way to do things. So when you open it up, you're going to see this. if you ever get lost, and this happens a lot, like you'll get zoomed into something wrong and you'll just, like everything will spaz out, just hit the home button. It'll take you back to the view that you saw when you opened it up. So use that, and then also you can use the cube. Like you could just click and say, I want the right profile shot. There you go. Front, and then you can also click and drag with your left mouse key. So before you start, I would set up your space is probably going to be white. I don't have any other special settings really. The color is something that I changed. So you can go down here to the little screen and change your visual style. For this, we're just going to stick with shaded with visible edges only. You can do hidden, and it'll show you all the lines on the inside. But I find it's just a little bit too much and doesn't really help you, so we'll do that. And then you can turn your grid on or off. My computer cannot handle Fusion 360 and recording a video, so I'm so sorry whenever it lags out. And then the other thing that I would do is change your camera to orthographic. So I'll show you perspective if it will let me do it without spazzing. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is important. If you do perspective, it's going to give you a more dynamic view, but it won't be more. It won't help you with measuring things and stuff like that. So that's why I definitely recommend going orthographic. If you do perspective, you see how it changed. And then they also have orthographic perspective with orthographic faces, which is fine. But for this, I'm just going to switch to orthographic if I can do it. There you go. Okay, so that is the main basics of the navigating. Over here on the left, your browser, these are all the files that I'm going to give you, or all the components, I should say, of the file. Whenever we start, I would have these on, these ones on with the eyeball. You just click it and you can turn them off and on without deleting. You've got the test slice that I created at the end, and it will be the exact dimensions of the faceplate, including the depth. Even if we change it over here, the test slice will update with it. I would have that on or off. It's up to you. I'm going to turn it off for now, actually. And then I have the body. So this is the main body. I have the clicker. And then I want to show you, I have a phone for you. So if you go up here to name views, toggle down and click phone corner radius check once, it'll bring you to a straightforward view. I saved this for you so that you can look right down at the phone and get a very realistic view of it. So what we're doing is we're basically creating a block and making it the phone shape along with the clearances so that we can use that to make the frame. When I got done, I was like, you know what, I want to make a fancy one. So I went ahead and took the block and made it a little fancier. If I take away the body, you can see it. Let's see here. And I'm sorry, I went crazy. I don't know. I like changing the materials and the appearances of things. You don't really need to, so don't worry about the gold and the white. It's going to print however you want to print it. Let's hide the clicker. So yeah, this is iPhone. This is the block that we make. Again, this is not accurate. This is not like a perfect iPhone. I just made a basic shape, and this includes clearance by going up here. So if you go from here, the end of the buttons to the bottom, that's the measurement that we're going to put in. If that is like throws you off, because I just thought it was nice to be able to see what it actually looks like, because you can see a little bit of the gapping where the buttons are and a little bit of clearance. If that throws you off or is distracting, turn it off. Honestly, it helps to turn it off and just check as you're going along to make sure nothing goes crazy, since it is blocking the front. But I also have in here a basic phone shape. So you can put that in there, and this is the actual shape that we're making. This includes clearances though, so it will be a little bit bigger than your phone because it's going to have all the clearances all around it. Also the clicker, I would turn it off if you're going to do a lot of stuff, because with Fusion, if something's on and you are molding things or moving things, it might accidentally, cut something away from the other one, but it should be fine if you leave it. So yeah, that's navigating. I think that's all that I need to show you as far as how to navigate Fusion 360. So again, we'll go back to home, get back to the review. And what we're going to do is we are going to change the dimensions. So for this one, let's make it a small one. I think I actually already. So we're going to hit, to change the dimensions, I'm going to go up to modify at the top. And I'm going to go down to change parameters. And it was really cool that Scott and Overwork gave us these files. It's amazing. The reason that people are having problems with it is that they were not accounting for tiny, tiny phones to huge phones. And the parameters are what was throwing everybody off. On my other file, I was able to adjust it just by going through the timeline with them and fixing it and linking things up to where I thought it would make sense. I'm not gonna lie, I spent a lot of time on it, way too much time. So I tried to reduce this down and make it really easy. So blood, sweat, and tears went into this, and hopefully this will make it easier for everybody. So I'm at 139.24, so I have tried to record this video about 20 times now, so that's why there might be some stuff set up. Okay, so we are on the iPhone SE 3rd and 2nd. Let's go ahead and do iPhone 13. So I'm going to use the gold numbers, and I'm going to highlight it because I'm horrible with numbers and I tend to lose track of things. So we're going to click here. You're going to go to the first one, which is phone length, and you're going to click on expression, and it'll highlight it. You can type it in. As you're typing these in, you might see an error come up in the bottom because it's going to auto-compute if this is checked. Fusion's going to try to do it in the background. You might see it change. You can click or tab. I think it just changed. You can see it. And if it airs out, just keep going. Don't stop. If it's usually because you put one measurement in and it's like really, really long or something and it's screwing it up. But once you put all the measurements in, it'll fix itself. That's the beauty of this. So this is the phone corner radius. So we did the phone length, the width, and the radius. So the radius is not accurate on these. It's still a little bit off. So what I would do is put in what I have if you're going off my numbers, and then we'll adjust it. And I'll show you how to do that. So after you're done, you hit enter or hit OK. And now we have the right measurements. So this is the measurement for the, let's see, what would I say? I just said it, iPhone 13. If you want to measure things in here, you can use the inspect, but I find it easier just to click the edges. You can hide your phone if you want, and what you're going to do is you're going to highlight over things. It'll fold up, so there's one edge. I'm going to left click once to select, and then I'm going to hold down my shift key and select the opposite one. So still the top edge. And as you can see down here, now it says minimum distance. Since they're straight lines, I know that that's the actual distance. So 147.51, and yep, that's the number we wanted. So it's good. And you can check your radiuses by clicking on the curve part. And yep, this is not right. 9. Did I put 9? What did I put in? Did I put 9? Let's check it. Of course, when I do something like this, it's mess it again. So to 04. That should have fixed it. Oh, is this edge? 9. Well, that's not good. Let's see here. 9. Why is it doing 9? Let's see here. Put my phone back in there. What's my phone say? 9. Oh, weird. Change parameters. Oh, I know why. Okay, because 9 was on the other one. I'm so sorry. Okay, so when you get this file, that won't happen. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So this is, again, where I tried to video it. So let's say you're in here, and let's say the measurement was right, but it still doesn't look right. Again, I would have the phone in front of you or a picture of the phone if you're not making it for yourself. Just go in here, and let's look up 13 because I don't own this phone. So I'm going to scroll down and hop over to here. Oh my god, sorry. I should have this ready. Okay, 13. So there's a picture of it. These are pretty accurate, I think. And so I'm going to click that phone corner radius check just to get that view back. So now I got a straight on view and I can look at it. It's actually pretty close. But let's say it wasn't close. What you're going to do is you're going to go down here, and when you highlight over things, this will show you the timeline down here, which is every step that you use to make it. And you're going to just, like, as you hover over it, it'll say it, set phone corner radius. That's what we want. So you're going to click it. When you click items in the timeline, what's cool is it will highlight blue. It should highlight blue what was changed for that feature. Each one of these features, it'll show you. So and then also I titled it that way. So it's a right click and you're going to hit edit feature. So now you're going to go back in time. And that's why things might look a little different. It's because you're actually going back through my timeline to the point where I didn't have the fancy phone made yet. But basically this is the, like I said, this is the block of the phone that represents our phone. The reason that it was messing up earlier is because normally I would have it in here as phone radius. So typing in phone radius and it pulls up the numbers that we put in the parameters, and you just click it and hit OK. So now that's the phone radius. I'm going to hit OK. There we go. And what it's doing down here is it's going back through the timeline. So we went way back into the beginning, and then now it's flowing through and finishing it. So this is what it looks like. This is the base phone, and then you could do the fancy one if you wanted to see it. But yeah, this is the corners. But what we're looking at, because the frame will adjust to the phone, you're really just looking at the phone right now. So let's just see. Yeah, I think actually the other one was a lot closer. So we can go back in here, and you're going to right click, and you're going to hit edit feature. If you find yourself in trouble, if you find something is clicking off, or like you've selected something wrong, or you're in a feature and you don't want to be it, just hit escape. Control Z and escape is like your best friend in Fusion 360 because there's so much that can go wrong, and it's the fastest way to get out. If you are finding that you can't do something that you could do before, it's probably because you're inside of something and you don't realize it. So this blue arrow is a draggable arrow. You can left click and drag it, and it will adjust all four corners, which is pretty awesome. So this is where that first number will get you close to it, and then you can just visually check. As you can see, it's jumping, like I think it's 2.5. That's just the way it does unless you change the settings. So what I do is get it close. Let's say this is close, 10. Honestly, a little bit tighter. So what I would do is once I get it close, you can highlight the number in this little dialog or up here, same thing, and just type a number in. So let's say 8. There you go, and you see it change. It changes with you. If it doesn't, just tab or click off of it for a second and let Fusion do its thing. That's better. I'd say 9. I think 9 is actually the best one. So you see how it's changed again? So once you're good with that, you're going to hit OK. And the reason it's doing all four is because we have those selected. It's a rule fillet, or fillet, I said it wrong, fillet. And I don't want to waste a lot of time trying to explain everything. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it shorter than my other 20 videos I tried. Okay, so now if you see that this is a double border thing, what happened is it zoomed us back through the timeline and it turned things back on that I had turned off. So what is going on there is that both phones are on, and that's why it's being weird. So you could choose which one you want or take a phone out completely. And yeah, so now we can do that. Click on the view and look at it again. And again, you're not looking at anything else except for the phone. So does that corner look good? Yeah. If it looks good, you're good. So now at this point, if you like it and you're happy with it, you could print this. It's totally fine. You're ready to go. Turn that test back on and you can export it and ready to slice it. And I will show you how to do that in a second. And so you can hop forward to that if you don't need to do anything else. However, if you feel like the border is too thick and you want it more like Scott and Overwork's original model, which was about 3 millimeters all around from the sides and the top, we can change that. So what we'll do is, this is really important if you want the test slice. You need to take your cursor, go down here to the timeline, and you're going to hover over this black bar, which is the navigator. And you're going to click with your left and drag it over. This is to create a fancy iPhone model right here. So this last section is where I created that test strip. It's important to go back before you do anything if you want that test strip or that test plate to be accurate. That's the only reason. So now that I've scrolled back, you can see it's grayed out and it shows you that we're standing here in the time. So now we're going to go down and we're going to move things around. So I would recommend starting with the radius of the outside. Again, if you click here, it shows you the measurement, which is 9. And then if you click up here, the outer measurement is 8.66. So what you could do is you're going to click up here and hit press pull. And now you're in this feature. And I had accidentally selected, so this is a good example, I accidentally had this selected. I don't want that selected. So I can either hit escape or I can hit X up here, but escape is probably the easiest. There you go. I'm going to click off, or I'm going to hit escape and make sure I'm not selecting anything. Now I'm going to go back up here, press pull, and we're going to select these two faces. So 1 and 2. And I don't know why this is how you do it, but it's just how you do it. I don't know how to explain it. So there's that. And if you get crazy and you select 100 other things that you weren't supposed to select and you can't stop for some reason, just go up here and hit X or hit escape. Now, if I hit X, I'm still inside the feature, and I can just select my faces again. So I'm going to select these two. And one thing that you could do is just try the phone radius that you put for the inside. So you could type in radius, and it'll pop up. There you go. I could click or hit enter, and it puts it in. And you'll see that corner change. There you go. And see how it gets tight. And then while you're inside the feature, you can't do the inspect, but you can at least click the phone radius check and get back to the view. So there's the outside. We are going to change the sides, so don't worry about that. Just look at the corner, see if it's okay. What I have found is changing it to corner radius +2. +2. Sorry, my computer's freaking out. Hit enter, and it does the math for you, which is really nice. There you go. I feel like that's not bad. And we can adjust this. I just like to start off doing the radius. It's usually the harder thing to do. So now we're going to do the other side. So we're going to click those two panels on the other side. And we're going to do radius +2. Hit enter. We're okay. Let the computer die. There we go. There we go. I think it already looks better. And again, you could stop here if you wanted to, but let's go ahead and do the sides. So we're going to hit modify, and we're going to go offset face. Offset face and press pull are the two that seem to be the best for this. It's ready for you to select, so we're going to hover. Whenever you hover, it's highlighting it. So go ahead and click that one. The arrow is pointing outward, so if you see, it's kind of like the radius, so you can pull it. Same thing. It'll go by increments of 5, I think. But now, see, if you want to go the other way, it'll be negative. So that's important to remember. If when you're doing these adjustments, if it's going the opposite way that you want it to go, it's probably because it either needs a negative or a positive. And I don't know the science behind that at all. So yeah, if we want to get to the 3, we could eyeball it if you want. And hit OK. And as you can see, that's actually the first thing. The radius doesn't get saved for some reason, but the pushing it in does. So now you have your own item down here. This is what you just did. So we're going to look at it from the front and see if you like that border on that side. So we could also do the measurement again. So click once on the first line, let go, hold down the shift key, click the second line, and let's see the measurement. So 6.16. Let's say we want to do the 3mm one border like Scott has. So we would do a offset face. Oh, sorry, this is actually not what I want to show you. Stop. Okay, there we go. We did this already, so you don't have to do it again. Sorry, that's what. You're gonna go down here, click it, and you see it highlights what was affected. Just right click and hit edit feature. It's very similar to what we did for the radius of the phone corner. So I'm gonna go back to the front so I can see it better. But I think it was 0.16, so 3. I think it was -8. Negative 8.16 is what we needed. Pretty sure. Hit enter, and you can measure again if you want. So there you go. Oh, and there you go. Minimum distance 3. So it's perfect. So let's do the same to the other side. This is symmetrical. So when you first got it, it was symmetrical, and this should be easy for you to do both sides without having to go crazy. See how the arrow is pointing out? So I'm going to do negative 8.16. And if you forget the number that you did for the other side, again, you just go down here and just right click and go back to it and see the number. So if I right click, I can open it up, hit edit feature, and I get to see the number. I go, oh yeah, I put negative 8.16. So now I know. So yeah, it's already looking really good. If you want to get the top down a little bit, we can. Unfortunately, it just doesn't love the top being changed too much. This is just telling me that I'm doing too much and it's trying to save an auto file. You will want to save this, so definitely save as you go. Fusion kills my computer. You might not have that problem, but it crashes on me quite often. So now we're going to go up to modify, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do offset face, and we're going to select this panel now. There we go. And see how the arrow's going up? We're going to get down. I didn't measure it. Negative. Let's try -3. This one airs out really fast, so that's why I'm not even trying to use the arrow. I'm just doing it. -3 looks pretty good. I'm going to try -4. I don't think it can do it. Yep. So when it airs out like that, you'll see it snap back to the original position, and an arrow will come up. And you won't be able to hit OK. So 3 is about the best I can do here. 5. I might upload multiple sizes and try to give these to people, but I think it looks good. I think it's a lot better than we were able to do with the other one. The other one was not as adjustable when it came to the sides. So yeah, so there you go. I'm gonna hit OK, and so -3. We need to remember that because now the clicker is popped up. So we're gonna go in, and the clicker needs to be down, and this is really easy. Just hit modify. You're gonna do the same thing, offset face, and you're gonna click the actual top of the clicker. And we did -3 for the top, so it's -3. And the way the offset face does is it will do the correct angle, which is pretty awesome. So it'll curve with it and do just fine. Yeah, so there you go. And that's, I mean, it's ready to print. What you can do now is you just need to move your marker. So you can either drag it like you did earlier, left click and drag, or you just hit this end button and zoom to the end. And now you have your test slice, and it is the right size. It should be an exact copy of what you have over here. So if you want to do the test slice first, you're welcome to do so. And again, just hide that phone, just double check things, make sure there's nothing crazy going on. It shouldn't matter. Like I said, I went a little extra and changed my appearances just because I can't help it. So that's that, and I'll show you how to export in a second. But if you want to do more, let's say you're a person that has a MagSafe that's not fitting. We found out that there's multiple MagSafes, and on top of that, there is also like, I don't know. It just, some people have problems getting it in, and some people have problems keeping it in, and some people I just, the clearances and everything, and Apple is just crazy. So we're going to go down here. I put in here the measurements according to Apple. There is these two that are 55.5, and this one is 55.9. If you were going to do the clearances of 0.4 on each side, you can add 8. I'm going to go back to Scott's measurements, which is 56.35. So sorry if you're one of those people that got the MagSafe that was falling out. I hate that. Believe me, I don't want anybody to have to waste time and filament. So if you need to adjust this, this is how you do it. You're going to hit offset face, and you're going to click this middle band, and then you're going to add and subtract. This is kind of similar to before. You can measure it, so you just click the edge and then go down here and it'll tell you the radius. So because I can't do simple math, I'm going to have to do this 28.175 times 2. So the diameter is 56.35, which is what I said I was going to put it at. Let's say you wanted to go 57 for some reason. So 57 minus, and probably a lot easier way to do this, but again, math. So we need to add a total of 0.65. So whatever you add to here, it will be double because it's going to do both sides. So I'm going to divide this by 2. So I need to add 0.325. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go modify. I'm going to go offset face. I'm going to click this band. And we're going inward, so, oh my gosh, this is rare. What did I even say? So I was going to add it, right? Make it bigger. So, again, you can probably do this. I'm just trying to show you how you can figure it out. So you see it move, hit enter. And now we can click the edge and see 27.85. So again, let's see, 27.85 times 2. 55.7. I don't know if that's the number I said. I'm sorry. If you can do Control Z, like I said, or you can just go in there and do it. It's up to you. See, now that I got rid of it by doing Control Z, I don't have it where I can go into the timeline, so I have to do it all over again. I could have just right-clicked and said Edit. We're gonna subtract. What was it? I don't know. I'm sorry. 56.35, 28.75. Now it's going to go to 57, so 57 minus 56.35 equals 0.65. That was it. I'm so sorry. 0.325. Did I say that? See. Whatever. So we're going to select again. I hit X because I actually cleared out my selection. We'll get it again. Now it's blue. And we're going to do, what did I say? Negative. No, see, so if you do a really big number, it will air out at you, but don't click off, just delete it, do it right, 0.35. There you go. And it'll let us do that, hit enter. And then you can check your measurement again. There you go, that's right. So as you multiply that by 2, and you get the right one. So yeah, that's how you would change the radius. Let me show you how to change the thickness. So let's go. And let's see, the shelf that he made, that Scott and OVERWERK made, was a 9. And I'll show you by clicking this in here, because that is the farthest back that the phone can go, is to hit here. So we're at 9. If you need it to be bigger, we can do that. Again, if that test slice is important to you and you want that to be the right depth too, pull your marker back. There you go. Give it a second. Test slice will disappear. And now we can do your depth, which is going to be modify, offset face. You're going to just choose this outer border, and we're going to add. So let's say you have a case that's 12, you need 12, and right now it's 9, so we're just going to add 3. There you go. Pulls it forward, hit enter, and there you go. And you can measure it again. 1 and 2, and that is 12. Okay, I got a little excited there. I forgot to show you how to export. So after you have done everything that you want to the main part, make sure you move that timeline to the end. Bring back our test slice if you want it. There you go. Now it's accurate, and it will have that width that we just, that depth that we just changed it to. And now we can go up here. We're going to go to File, and I realize now that you can't see this, but in Fusion, I'm still in it. I'm going to hit File, and I'm going to do 3D Print. So the first time you do this, it might try to give you this option, Manufacturing. Just click it down and toggle down to Export. And there is a way to select these all and do it all at once, but then you're going to have to slice them. They'll all come on the same plate. So I just do it separately. You select your object. It's going to be highlighted blue. Choose which format you want. I did the STL binary. I don't honestly know the difference, so that seems to work for me, and I hit OK. And then here you're going to save it, and you're going to save to my computer. And if you wanted to, you could save the project in the cloud, which I really recommend doing, because it's Fusion's cloud-based system is pretty neat in some ways. And you hit save, and it'll be an STL ready for you to go. So you'll need to do that 3 times. So we'll go up here, File, 3D Print. And now we need to do the clicker. So if you hover over, it'll highlight what it's choosing. So hovering it, there's the clicker, click it, and yeah, there you go. And then you hit OK, and you're gonna do the same thing. And then the same thing for the test slice. So after that, you have STL files, and they are ready to put into the slice. So yeah, that's the way to change all the, pretty customizable. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit proud of being able to do this. It was a really good exercise. Thank you again to Scott and Overwork for making this really awesome doc. It's amazing. I love it, and it's really cool that you guys gave us these files to play with and to use. I definitely am not trying to take credit for this design. It's not mine. I'm just trying to help you guys out, and just it was a fun exercise, honestly, in a project that I kind of dove into. And yeah, so enjoy. Hopefully this works. Let me know if you have any problems with it, and good luck. Bye.